What's good, people? We're back. Big up to every single one of you. We've got another Arsenal show. It's myself and Lee. We had problems on Lee's channel this morning, so we are going to take it over to this channel, and we'll be back on Lee Judges TV very, very soon. But it's not Lee Judges TV. It's 12th Man, and it is myself and Lee Judges, and we are going to be talking Arsenal. I haven't actually spoken to Lee since he's been flying around the world. And enjoying Prague, which I must say is a very beautiful city, and a fantastic performance we're going to talk about, which will lead us into probably one of the biggest weekends of football in some time. There's some massive games this weekend. I don't know what you guys are up to tomorrow and Sunday, but I suggest watching the football because we've got Tottenham, Manchester United. We've got a massive game for Arsenal against Sunderland. And of course, we've got Liverpool versus Manchester City at the Etihad on the Sunday as well. This could be a massive weekend going into an international break yet again. But do you know what? That international break might feel sweet if we're sitting at the top of the tree, miles away from what could be 10 points and 9 points away from Manchester City and Liverpool if they are to draw and Arsenal are to win, which a lot of people are saying is the favourites in terms of predictions. But this is football. It's not always as simple as that. Please make sure you do me a favour, hit like and subscribe. Make sure you're following Lee Judges TV and Football's 12th Man. We've got OK Jerseys as our sponsors today. Use the code 12Man to get 8% off. And we've got Match Bingo in the chat live description as well. Make sure you use the code POTS to get a discount on that also. Judges, how are we, mate? Are you okay? Have you recovered from Prague?
I'm okay. I was really ill last week when you know what I mean? So coming back from Burnley. Yeah, I got my voice back and I managed to dose myself up Sunday night, Monday. And I weren't at 100% when I first got to Prague, but let me tell you, it is a lot colder out there than it is here, like, you know what I mean? And but it weren't unbearably cold, you know what I mean? You could feel it, but what a place, and I felt better, and lovely place, and then you know, like the game, I didn't really know what to think about it, what sort of team he was going to pick. He went very, very strong in the end, Dan, which surprised me, and I think he had to because they were a tricky old outfit, like, you know, and we rode the storm in the first 10-15 minutes, and then once we went 1-0 up, bit of a dodgy penalty, I have to say, but, like, you know, as somebody said to me, what about the one against Inter Milan last season? Like, exactly the same sort of thing. So so we'll take it, move it on, and listen, I thought it was again a comfortable win, Dan, a nice, easy, stress-free game. Well, you know, I mean, we're getting a few of them going at the moment. Like, I don't think it'll be like that on Saturday, but all in all, a good result. You know, unbeaten alongside Bayern Munich. You know, unbeaten, all 1-4. I think Inter Milan have won all 4 as well. But clash of the Titans, then, isn't it now? Like, you know what I mean? The next game, so we'll see. But all in all, good performance. Nketiah, I thought, done very, very well for his start. Feel a little bit disappointed for Miles Lewis-Skelly that he didn't play. That's cost him his England spot now, like, you know, which is a bit harsh. But yeah, all in all, a good performance and a good 3 points.
It was a good 3 points, mate, and it's one that's now allowed us to go up there with Bayern Munich, as you've mentioned, and it will be a massive clash, that one in the Champions League. But before that, we have got Sunderland, and one player I wanted to mention is a player who's now going to have to be our striker for this game. Gyökeres came off at half-time against Burnley, and he's injured, we reckon, for quite some weeks. I hope he's back for the North London derby, but he's definitely not travelling with Sweden, so we'll have to see how many weeks he's out for. We'll come to injuries in a minute, but Mikel Mourinho is somebody that stepped up. And I've got to be honest with you, I think he offers us quite a lot up top. I'm not a massive fan of him, Lee, in midfield. But right now, from a striker point of view, he's a target man. His attributes are good, what he uses in terms of his physical ones. And in the air, I don't think we've got anyone better other than maybe Gabriel. Certainly from a striker point of view, I think he's okay and does a job there. At the back end of last season, we saw what he did in the Champions League run and the league games. And I wasn't a massive fan when I heard he was going up front. I thought, oh, God, is he trying to turn him into a Fellaini or something? What's happening here? But actually, when you look at what he did at the back end of last season, getting 8 or 9 goals that were quite crucial to what Arsenal were trying to achieve, and then you look at this season, what he's done so far, I actually think he's quite an important player for us. And I don't think he's like someone who does everything. I don't think he's someone you notice. I don't think he does enough in 90 minutes. But I'll tell you what he does do, score. And there were 2 very, very good goals, Lee.
Well taken goals, really well taken goals. You know, I actually thought, like, you know, he played everywhere but centre forward, didn't he? if I'll be
Yeah,
honest. You know what I mean? He's
yeah,
dropping back here, dropping back there. But when he gets a chance, he scores. You know what I mean? Like, in fact, he gets chances that we're hoping Gyökeres is be getting, like, but the Gyökeres don't seem to be getting those sort of chances. I don't know how that is, but that's how it seems to be. Like, it's a mad thing at this moment in time. But I was impressed with him. Gives us something different. I think, particularly away from home, when you want to keep control of the ball and things like that. I think that he's good for that role. I didn't think his hold-up play was as good as it should have been on the night, but everything else he done was really good. And he works tremendously hard. And as you say, you know, who else scores a header? I know probably the goalkeeper's at fault, but, you know, it's a lovely, lovely ball from Declan Rice. And, you know, improvisation at the highest level for that header. Like, you know, I don't know what he was trying to do. If it was trying to score a goal, then it's wonderful, wonderful play. But, you know, I have to say, I've been very, very impressed with him this season. You know, I don't know what his best position is, Dan. I don't think anybody does. I think if you was to get 10 experts on here and say, what is his defining position, I think it'd all go differently. He's not a 6. He's not an 8. He's not a box-to-box. He's not a 10. He's not a wide player, is he? Like, I don't know what he is, but like when he goes up front or when you put him in a sort of a free role, if you like, go and do whatever you want to do, he goes and scores goals. And you know, this season he's already really contributed tremendously. That Newcastle goal was one unbelievable header. You know what I mean? It got us back in at level terms. And then I have to say, I've been very, very impressed with him. I've been really impressed with him since January of last season, from January to now. The first 6 months of his tenure were difficult, but I think when he was put into this false 9 role, he really took it really, really well. And I think has been a good player for us ever since then. I really do.
I agree. I think he's been really good for us in the attacking sense. I don't know that I'm a massive fan of him in the kind of box-to-box role. I don't think he's anywhere near the level of somebody like Declan Rice. And if I'm honest with you, if Rice was to get injured, I'd probably pick Miles Lewis-Skelly in midfield ahead of Mourinho, which is kind of harsh, really. But I do think Mourinho as a number 9, I think he can do a job. And I think if he was to have to come in as a kind of attacking option, then I think he would. And I think sometimes people were maybe a little bit too harsh, maybe including myself and yourself, when we were saying that Mourinho in that midfield 3 wasn't really an attacking midfielder, but he kind of is, really. He's just not a creator. There's a difference. He's a kind of, I think he plays off of the striker, not like Erdegaard does in that kind of deeper role where he's threading through passes and all that. I think Mourinho is more of a target man to hit as opposed to giving the ball to his feet and letting him thread it through to the striker. I don't think Mourinho does that, which is why it didn't work in that midfield trio for me. But I think he's been a really good squad player, and that's exactly what you need to go and win the league. And I think that if we do win something this year, you'll look at Mourinho's goals and you'll think that he was a massive part of why we won something, because he's a squad player that's useful, that comes in, does a job, and that scores goals. So I think he deserves credit. I really do. And I think, you know, he's scoring them for Spain as well, Lee. It ain't just Arsenal. You know, he's still doing it for his country as well in that position, either up front or off the striker, where he's scoring goals. I think he deserves a hell of a lot of credit, if I'm honest, Mourinho. And I thought he was one player that definitely deserved a mention the other night. Another player at the moment who's at the moment unplayable. I wanted to chat to you about this, actually, because me and you have actually disagreed quite a lot on Declan Rice about his position and how he's being used and if he's been misprofiled or whatever. I kind of think both of us are a little bit wrong, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't think he is an attacking 8, and I don't think he is the deep line 6. I think he's in between. When you were saying you think he can do an advanced role, and I was saying don't know, you say he's all right in the 6, Dan, but I do think he's better going forward. I was like, nah, I want him in the 6. I think we're both wrong. I think you want him here, I want him here, and he's actually here. Because he does that, mate. He is absolutely unplayable right now. The guy is dead ball set pieces. Obviously, he deserves credit, but I think people are because he does that, I think, so well. I think people are taking away how good he's been on the ball. Like on the ball for us, driving forward, every blade of grass covered. I thought he was a machine again midweek. I think he's right now, Lee, our most important player. It might not be our best player because people will throw other names because everyone's playing well. But right now, I think if he was to get injured, I'd really seriously worry, because I think he's that important, mate, in terms of how we go like forward, in terms of how we drive, the domination from midfield that Declan Rice brings us, and of course the dead plays and the set pieces. I think he is. I just think he's incredible, mate. I love watching him play. I love Declan Rice. And, it's really hard to pick a favourite player at the moment at Arsenal, which is another compliment to Mikel, to be fair, for the squad he's put together. But he's got to be one of my favourite players, Lee Rice. He's got.
He's my favourite player, you know that, But
Yeah.
what I like about him, I actually thought on Tuesday that was like a more mature performance than people give him credit for, because he knew he was on a booking, knew he couldn't afford to get booked, and he was then suspended for the Real Madrid game. But he just played so sensibly without doing nothing silly. And I just thought it was another wonderful performance for him on the back of what I see at Burnley. And I will say this with him: you're playing Burnley, Sunderland, Real Madrid, Tottenham. He produces the same sort of level every game of work rate and whatever. He doesn't look at the opposition. He just knows I've got to perform really, really well. And I think that's such an incredible thing to have in your armoury. It's just mental attitude, because there are players, and we've all played football. When you're playing against top of the league, you're all up for it and all that. And when you're playing bottom of the league, you're not quite as up for it. You know what I mean? It's a mental thing, and he has got it in droves. And I thought his performances over this last few weeks have been nothing short of sensational. I don't really want to compare him to other midfield players and whatever. The comparisons going around with Casido and him this week. Because Casido, what he does is fantastic. They're completely different players. Declan Rice is a completely different. If you want to go all-round midfield player, I'm saying Declan Rice. I think if Declan Rice was to just add a few more goals to his game, which he's starting to do, I think that you would say that he's all round one of the best midfield players in Europe, and if not the world. That's how good he is, And I think he's only 26 now. There's still more potential in him. He's got what I think his running ability, his stamina, and I think he's just one of those guys that was good at everything. Dan, you know what I mean? If you want to put him at centre half, he can play centre half. If you put him in midfield, he'd play midfield. I think if you played him up front, he'd score goals. You know what I mean? He's just got that thing about him, But I think one thing I will say, I think that the introduction of Zubimendi coming into that midfield has sort of been a real made his level go up a little bit more, which is unbelievable, because Thomas Partey was fantastic for us, as we well know. But I think Zubimendi complements him a little bit more, the way he just controls games from the back there. He doesn't control games physicality wise. He controls it with the ball, and that has been a big plus for us.
Yeah, look, I've got to be honest. I agree. I think Rice has been outstanding. Hope you're well, Jen. Big up to you. Big up to everyone in the chat. Make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and you're following League Judges as well. Look, I think Zubimendi is a great point. I think he has allowed Declan Rice to be the position that we're talking about, because I like the fact they're closer together. I like the fact that they play in like a double pivot. Maybe they're like, I called it two pistons of an engine, where they kind of up and down. But Declan Rice has been so good, and I think Zubimendi's allowed that. I think before, with Thomas Partey sitting in that 6, we kind of wanted Rice to push forward with it. I think Zubimendi's actually played not just as a 6. I think he's played a little bit more kind of central midfield alongside him. But right now, when you compare him, I mean, let's be honest, yeah, you've got Declan Rice, who's being compared to Caicedo, who's being compared to Pedri, who's being compared to Vitinha. I've got to be honest, bruv. That to me means that Rice is one of the best in the world then, because they are the best midfielders in the world. You're not comparing Rice with some of the other players, are you? You're comparing him with the best players there. And I don't know if you agree with this, bruv, but I look at it, yeah, and every time you get a winger that's performing, you compare him to Bukayo Saka. Every time you get a defender, you compare him to Saliba. Every time you get a midfielder, you compare him to Declan Rice. The amount of times that people have compared their players to our players means one thing and one thing only. We got some quality players, Lee. It's a massive compliment when people compare them. Because years ago, they used to say, oh, we got a striker, he's up there with Henry. And we got Vieira, we got him in Marfield, he's just like Vieira. They're doing it again now. They never used to compare their centre halves to Mustafi, did they? Yeah. They never used to compare their midfielders to Granit Xhaka. They never used to compare their centre forwards to Olivier Giroud. As much as them players were good for us in parts, they ain't the same level as the players we've got now, mate. So for me, it's the biggest compliment that we have got the best squad right now. And I do think we've got the best squad in terms of players coming back. because I wanted to mention what Arteta said today in his press conference, which only had about an hour or so. He said it. He's asked on any injuries. He says no news, remain the same. There's nobody new that can join the squad. Gabriel Jesus is back in training, which I'll come back to in a minute. But Ødegaard, Havertz, Madueke, Gyökeres and Martinelli will not be available. He says he can't confirm that's 100% true, but we're not far off, which basically means, those are the players that are out. And then he was asked if any of them could be free after the international break. He says some of them will be, but not all of them. He doesn't know if all of them will be. There's a lot of things that have to happen in the next 2 weeks and everything has to be perfect. But I think we'll be very close with most of them to be in a really strong position. So what that means is we're going to have pretty much a strongest squad when we come back from the international break, mate. Now, before we get into this Sunderland game, that's massively key, isn't it, to have these players back? I mean, there's 6 players at the moment that are out. That are in the attacking positions, Lee. Like, that's mental. Last season, we wouldn't have coped with that. And if I'm honest, I don't think Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United would cope with that if they had 6 players out. But because we've been so strong with our depth, I think it just proves Arsenal have clearly got the best squad in the league, Lee.
Yeah, I don't think Arsenal would have coped if they had all these players out last season. Listen, other teams have had players out. Do you remember Spurs last season had 7 or 8 players out and they were in the relegation zones? You know what I mean? Like battling relegation, we've had 7 or 8 players out and it hasn't affected us. So that's fantastic from the squad rotation of the squad. It cannot continue though, Dan. That's the thing. It needs to be back and these players back. So these players getting back now is fantastic. Getting them fit now for the next few weeks is important. Obviously not going to be up to the scratch, but even if they're coming on 20 minutes from the end of games, that's going to be important for us. Not only is it going to be important for us, it's like getting players off with after 70 minutes. You know what I mean? So I think listen, if Arsenal are going to go and win this league, the injuries have got to stop and they've got to be minimal. And getting these players back now and hopefully back long term, Havertz, Ødegaard, have hardly played this season. Martinelli, and Gyökeres, hopefully they'll come back there, but they've been featured very, very much in it. And Jesus, as you said, back in training hasn't, I don't know if it's worth. Could he be on the bench for tomorrow, or could he be on the bench in the next few games? I don't know. You know what I mean? But it's nice that they're all coming back at a time, Dan, when after this international break, games come thick and fast every 3 days. So we need them all there, and we all need them back fit. And it gives the manager some selection problems, but it also means that he can rotate a little bit more. And I think that the injuries of Gyökeres and particularly has come because there's been no one to rotate him out at times. He's had to play 90 minutes. And when he has a rest, he comes back and he's injured, So, I don't know what, but we just need them all back and we need them back quickly.
Facts. Absolutely facts. And, I think right now Arsenal have proven they've got the best squad in the league. And I think those injuries last season would have proved that we didn't have. So what I mean by that is if we would have had those same players out, right now we'd probably be playing the likes of Nelson and Sterling and Eddie and Fabi Vieira, and all them would have got more minutes. But because they're now been replaced with the players like Eza, players that we've got now that we've bought in that this summer, I mean, we've been unbelievable, let's be real, in terms of who we bought in this summer. And I think that now just proves how strong that we are and how good we've been. So, big up to Andrea Berta and the teams there, as well as Mikel, for getting those players in the summer. I think it's just proved how massive it is. Let's move to this game because it's a Granit Xhaka reunion. It's a player that for the last probably 18 months of his career was wanted by all Arsenal fans. And in the previous 5 or 6, people were unsure of him. I think a lot of that was to do with Arsene Wenger and Unai Emery misprofiling him. I don't think he was ever a holding midfielder. And I think you can see that when he played for Arsenal, Leverkusen, and now for Sunderland, how well he's been. He's definitely not a 6. He's not someone who sit in the anchor of midfield like we were trying to do. And when we pushed him further forward, I thought he was pivotal for that season. We all went 8 points clear. He was outstanding for us. Then he went and won what he won at Bayer Leverkusen, which was great for him. And now he's come to Sunderland, and he's probably been one of the better players in terms of signings this summer. He's going to get a good reception, I think, when he comes to the Emirates. I just hope he don't have a very good game tomorrow night, mate, because he does seem to be one of their most important players, Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I think, he's just one of those players. I think that, and it's a weird thing, when you get the older you get, the better you get. He's got to 29, 30, and that's when he's been really fantastic. And I always thought he was a decent player, but it just weren't happening for him at Arsenal. And I liked it. I liked the way he didn't let people bully the team and all that, And then the turnaround when Mikel Arteta came to the team was just incredible. I have to say, it's something that I never thought was going to happen. The day that happened at Crystal Palace, that was him. I thought that's him done now, like at Arsenal. And to turn it around and for everybody to be singing, one more year, Granit, and all that, is incredible mentality from him. And then obviously, to go to Germany's done well, and then to go to Sunderland and Sunderland were in the playoffs last season. They was six in the league. They only just got into the playoff positions. Then they won it, and then they've changed their team around. But what a fantastic signing he's been for them. He controls the game for them in midfield. He does. I've watched them 3 or 4 times. They were fortunate against Chelsea in some ways, but I thought in the last 20, 25 minutes they took over that game and looked like they was the only team that was going to win. And he's been a fantastic player for us towards the end of the season. I like to not think about the times before, Dan, and think about the 18 months, 2 years that he was with us. And he was absolutely brilliant, And I think that he knew. I think one of the greatest things about him, I think, is that he I held his hands up. I've made mistakes. The fans have made mistakes. Let's forget about it and let's go on from here. And I think that was fantastic. And he's been brilliant. And I'm pretty sure the away fans will give him a good reception tomorrow. And as you say, when he comes to the Emirates. But tomorrow, he's no friend of mine. You know what I mean? He's a rival, and he's stopping us from getting what we want, Dan. And we've got to be wary of him. Yes, we've got to be wary of what he does, and Sunderland tomorrow. But ultimately, as well as he's done, he's a rival player tomorrow for me.
He is a rival player, and it's going to be a hard game. And I'll make a statement now. I think we're conceding tomorrow. I think this will be the game we concede. I do think this is going to be harder than people are giving us credit for. I'm not saying 3-4-0 like some. I do think we'll win the game. We'll come to that in predictions later, but I actually do think we'll concede. I think Sunderland have been very impressively, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's been some beautiful football on show this season in the Premier League. I don't think there's been any team I look at and go, oh, they're beautiful to watch. But I tell you, Sunderland and Bournemouth are probably the 2 teams that are closest to it. And, that's to say that I'd want to beat them, because obviously I want to be Arsenal top of the league. I don't care how we play if we're top, right? We're winning games. But Arsenal haven't been beautiful to watch this season. But Sunderland and Bournemouth have actually played some really nice stuff. And I think this is going to be a tricky game, Lee. I don't think this is going to be a walk and breeze in the park. People are getting excited because of the other game on the Sunday, which we'll come on to in a minute. But let's do our job first, because I think this is going to be tough. I don't think this is going to be a really easy sort of control game. I think that this is going to be very, very difficult. I think they've got absolutely nothing to lose. They've not lost at home. They're playing good football. They're playing the way they want to play. And I don't think we give them enough credit sometimes, Sunderland, so far, because in 10 games that we've played, they've gone and done it their own way. Now, when teams come up and they play like that, they normally get played off the park battered, and they're getting hammered by 3s and 4s every weekend. But Sunderland have actually had some really good results. They've beaten Chelsea. They've put themselves in a top 4 race right now. I think Sunderland deserve a hell of a lot of credit, Lee. I really do. And I think this is going to be tricky tomorrow, mate.
100%. I've always said this is the one I've earmarked as the toughest game in that batch of games. And, it comes on the back of 2 away games. People go, oh, the travelling and all that. You go away to Burnley, go away to Prague, then you got to go away to Sunderland. It's not easy. You know what I mean? 3 away games on the spin. And you've won 2 of them, to get the third one's always going to be a little bit more tougher than the other 2. And I do believe that this is the toughest game that we've had. This will tell us a lot about Arsenal. It will tell us a lot about Arsenal. Have we got the mentality to go up there, maybe not be at our best and still win? As you said, we've not been that free-flowing this season, but at the end of the day, we've shown little glimpses of it. But I think we're going to have to need to be at our best defensively tomorrow, and we're going to have to play well. I'm with you. I don't think it's going to be an easy game whatsoever. I think it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be. I don't think an entertaining game. I might be wrong on that. I don't know. It depends on what happens early doors. But I think Arsenal got to get in front, and then they're going to have to defend it and go from there. Listen, I didn't watch all of the Everton game, but Everton looked the better team for me in I won't say majority, but like I think shaded it. If I'll be honest, on Monday night. But you know, we're gonna have to be at our best now. I think Arsenal will win, but look, I don't care how we win tomorrow. By the way,
no,
I'll say just like I want to be coming home tomorrow with those 3 points in the bag, and then, as you say, like the next day you can look at that. Like, but I'm not even bothered about that game. You know what I mean? Because whatever happens, we have got to win. If we win on Saturday, it doesn't that results are irrelevant then, like, you know what I mean, whatever happens, you know what I mean. We'll be in a much stronger position if we win that game tomorrow, like, you know what I mean. We don't want to be sitting there going, oh well, we regret this and regret that, like, you know. We want to go into international break full of confidence in what will be then 3 unbelievable games in a week. And I don't think if Arsenal are going to win this league that they can afford to slip up against Sunderland. I think they've got to beat Sunderland, because I do think that those next 3 games, you know, like in a week, are going to be terribly tough. Not just on the 11 that play in the whole squad. So I think that, you know, imagine if you can get 10, 11 points clear if it goes our way, Dan, like, you know what I mean? You can go, do you know what, we can afford to draw one of those games. You know what I mean? Like, there's a little cushion. The other teams can't, you know what I mean? And at the end of it, you want to put pressure on Liverpool. And, you know, if Arsenal were to lose on Saturday, the pressure's off with those 2 teams. One of them's going to benefit massively. The other's not going to be too far behind, even if they do lose after going to a big rival as well, Dan, you know what I mean? So, listen, can't emphasise how important this game is tomorrow. Like, Arsenal got to be right on it, right up for it. And when we get that chance, we've got to take it. And we are going up there, Dan, without a forward. I know, like, you know, we talked about Mourinho's doing one of that, but all of our forwards are out. What other team could do that and expect to win a game of football? I don't know, if you take all Liverpool's front line out, take all their front line out and go, right, you know, are they going to go up to there and win that game? Same with take Haaland out of Man City. I won't fancy him as much against anybody, but that's what we've got to deal with at this moment in time. We've done it against Prague, who were a decent side, but this is another level.
Yeah, agreed. Do we think the team news? I mean, Gabriel Jesus has come back into the mix in terms of training. Do you think that's too early for him to be a part of the squad? And what do you think the 11 will be? Because I think it'll be the same against Burnley, but it'll just be Mourinho up front instead of Gyökeres.
Yeah, exactly that. I think it'll be the same team. Calafiori coming back in at left back. I 2 central defenders, no problem. Like, you know, Timber as well. And then, I think it's too. Listen, at the end of the day, I keep saying, I emphasise this and all that, because they're showing Gabriel Jesus out of the train. That doesn't mean the others are not training. You know what I mean? They're just, they could still be training. Now, I was under the illusion that he was further behind than Havertz and Odegaard and Madueke, like, you know, all of a sudden, like, you know, out they showing him like training, like, and it's good to see him back. But I wouldn't be surprised if there would be a Madueke or a Havertz, someone like that on the bench or something like that tomorrow. I don't know, like, you know what I mean. But I think they're a little bit closer than what he's letting on. I don't think. I definitely know Martinelli's not going to be available in Gyökeres, we know that. But I think that maybe, you know, listen, at the end of the day, I think, you know, Jesus, I wouldn't be rushing him back, let him have a few weeks training and all that. Like. But listen, 10 minutes, 20 minutes from the end of games, you got Jesus coming on as well. You know, I mean, that's a good little weapon to have as well, like, you know. So, I don't, you know, you'd like to see a couple of them back tomorrow, but I don't think we will.
No, I don't think we will. I think they'll come back after the international break, and I hope they all come back, to be fair, because Jesus in fitness, in training is good. Havertz, Madueke, and Martinelli were all rumoured to be about for the Tottenham game. It's just on Gyökeres now, if I'm honest. And I hope Gyökeres is fit, but they're saying that one could be he could miss Tottenham and Chelsea, is what I heard. That would be a shame if he does that. We'll have to try and either implement Havertz or keep Mourinho playing. Look, this game for me is an absolute massive one because of the Sunday. Now, there's scenarios that can happen, and those scenarios will only matter if we win.
Exactly that.
We have to beat Sunderland, right? We have to. There's no, if we draw that one, that means we just got to win that one. And I'm with you. I don't care if we win 4-3. I don't care if we win 1-0. And I don't care if we win 1-0 and we stunt the house out. Let's just take 3 points and worry about the performance after the international break. Because for me, it's so vital we win this game. Because there'll be nothing worse, Judge, than us drawing or losing this game and then watching Sunday unfold and thinking, what did we do? So we have to beat them. We have to win this game for sure. But just touching on Liverpool and City, just in general, from a title perspective, I know it's early. What do you think will happen in this game? Liverpool's record at the Etihad is awful, from what I understand. They don't normally do well there. Liverpool have picked up a little bit of form. Slot's reverted a little bit back to last season's Liverpool in terms of the 11. Manchester City are on fire. Foden was superb midweek. Haaland is unplayable at the moment and unstoppable with his goal scoring. And I do think they've got a couple of players in Ryan, Cherky and Doku that have definitely improved as well. How do you see this one going at the Etihad?
I see Man City winning it. Home advantage, everything like that. Liverpool, I think that I think they've done well. Good comeback against Aston Villa and Bayern Munich, but I felt against Villa that they was a little bit fortunate in terms of Villa had a few chances and then Villa give them something completely. I don't know what Martinez was doing, complete gift. But I think that City will win this one. If I be honest, we want to draw, don't we? If we be blatant honestly, but one team losing, and if we win, puts them, double figures. You know what I mean? 3 games away from catching us. That's with us dropping 3 games and then winning all those 3 games. So that's going to be difficult for the team that loses that game. Only if we win. You know what I mean? We have to win this game on Saturday. It's so important that we do. Because we are then in a win situation, Dan. We won last week, but it wasn't a win situation because, the other 2 teams were playing and they both won. But whatever happens in this game, one of them is dropping points. One of them. It's as simple as that, And I think at the end of the day, home advantage is a key. So I'm going to go Man City to win it. And listen, this is a pivotal week. I can't express how more that is to go 9 points in front and 10 points in front of those 2 teams before they play. It is so important that we win tomorrow. So important. Massive.
We win that game, I'll have a lovely Sunday and a lovely international break, no matter what happens. I think Liverpool, Manchester City, someone in the chat's right, they did win last year, but I think the general consensus is that they struggle at the Etihad. I think a draw would be an unbelievable result if Arsenal win, because obviously we would then go 10 points clear of Liverpool and 9 points clear of Manchester City. I think I've got that right. Let me know if I haven't. That for me means I can get my chest out and say Arsenal are going to win the league. And I will. I will say Arsenal will win the league. If we go 10 points clear of Liverpool and 9 points clear of Manchester City, I honestly think we'll win the league. I honestly do. But I haven't got there yet. So let's see what happens. I actually think Manchester City will win the game 2-1. I think Man City at home will have the advantage. And I do think Haaland is just too good for that defence. I just think he's ridiculous, if I'm honest. I don't know about you, Lee. Let's just touch on it very quickly. This is the best version of Haaland that I've seen. Without a doubt. I don't think he was doing this last season. He certainly wasn't doing it the year before. And I think the treble winning season that they had, I don't remember him doing this either. Now, I know he scored loads of goals and he was brilliant. Last season, he was still one of the top scorers and he had a bad season, apparently, by his account. He is absolutely phenomenal right now. Like it is. I don't think I've seen anything like it. I'll go one further. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it at the moment. Do you remember a season where someone started the first 10 games like this? I can't name one. I think the guy is scary, inhumane. I think what he's doing, I think will be remembered when he ends. If he continues like this, I think he will break every record under the sun in terms of Premier League record. The Champions League record is scary already. He's already scored more goals than Ruud van Nistelrooy in the Champions League. It took Van Nistelrooy 11 years to get that record. It's taken him 4. And Van Nistelrooy was pretty good, Lee. So, I don't want to big him up too much and start glazing him, but sometimes you've got to appreciate how good he is. Now, I don't think he's an unwonderful footballer. He's not a Thierry Henry-esque footballer. But I tell you what, he's as a striker, I don't think there's anyone better in the world, Lee.
No, and I don't care about if he's got not the finesse of an Henry or he's got the finesse of a or whatever. He's just a battering ram, but got everything. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? He's a goal scorer. When he goes through, he went through last week, then he tried to chip the goalkeeper. You know, it's more of a shock when he misses than when he scores. You know what I mean? Like, you just expect him to score every time. Powerhouse of a player, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like him, and the reason I don't like him is because he keeps scoring bloody goals all the time. But listen, the goal we got against us, you know what I mean? No one else scores it. No one else scores that goal apart from him. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what he's got in his locker, you know, physicality. He's no slouch, by the way, neither. He's got pain. And he does the hardest thing in football. Put the ball in the back of the net. And, you know, I think he's an unbelievable player, a freak of nature. I'll tell you what you say, like, right? This is how it is. We got off the plane on Wednesday night, right? So we didn't know none of the scores, right? And it come through that they'd won 4-1, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, if he scored, like, how many did he get? 1. Oh, really? That is it. Like, it's not like, oh, it was how many has he got? You know what I mean? You know he's scoring. Like, if that's, you know what I mean?
Did he just get a 1 or did he get 3 or 4?
Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, you just know he's going to score. If Man City score, who scored? Haaland. You know what I mean? So it's incredible. It's incredible what he's doing. And, you know, the only saving grace I think that we got for us a little bit here, like, is that they can't afford to leave him out of any game then.
No.
But can he play every single game? You know what I mean? In modern day football, I don't know. You know, we'll have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure Pep's onto that Norwegian manager, making sure that he don't play that many minutes in the next couple of weeks. But, you know, for me, I think he's still. If he was to get injured now, right, and be out for the season, right, I wouldn't worry about Man City. But at this moment in time, they're still a massive threat for us because of him.
Agreed. Totally agree. I think you're right to say about Haaland. Oh, City have scored. Oh, it's Haaland. How many did you got? You're right to say that. And that is why they've got a great chance of winning this league still, because they've got a monster like that. Now, the thing I will say about Manchester City, if he does get injured, I don't think they will do anything, because I do think that the second highest goal scorer is Ryan Cherky with 2 goals. So that means they will struggle to score goals without Haaland, right? They've still got Pep. They've got Foden, who looks better. They've got a spine that's very, very good. People don't recognise their spine, but it's one of the best in the league. You know, you look at Donnarumma in goal, Diaz and Guardiola, Rodri when he's fit, Foden, just mentioned Cherky, but obviously Haaland as well. That's a bloody good spine, Lee. Do you know what I mean? So I think Man City have got a great chance. Let me ask you this question, as a lot of people have asked me. Arsenal have just beaten Sunderland. You go into Sunday, you don't really care because you don't have to care. But if I had to ask you, someone's got to win that game, Liverpool or Manchester City. Who would you rather lose?
That's a great question. Like, you know what I mean? One, I would say that if Liverpool will win this game on the back of Real Madrid and back of Villa, that would be like a massive thing for them, confidence-wise. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and even though City is still a point that I would still say City. I would prefer City to win.
I'm going to say I would prefer City to lose, because I have got PTSD about Man City. And I've not got PTSD about Liverpool. It doesn't mean Liverpool haven't got more of a chance of winning, because I think they look like, if they keep it going and go into form now, I think they will. I just think that it might kill off Manchester City, and it will just be like dead them in the water, and then let's see if Liverpool can catch us. I don't know. It might be that it's not over, and Liverpool and City both can catch us, and it probably is right to say that. But I just think if we was to go 10 points clear of Liverpool and 9 ahead of Manchester City, and we weren't to win it, I wouldn't want to be Mikel Arteta. That's what I'll say. So I think we go 9 points clear of these two. I think we win it, Lee. I think we win it. You know what I mean? And if we dream for a moment that we've just beaten Sunderland and they've just drew,
well, that's the perfect scenario.
surely we win the league, right? Surely we win the league, right? I mean, like, I know you can't, and it's not given, but we can't go 10 points clear of City and 9 ahead of Liverpool. 10 points clear of Liverpool, 9 ahead of City, and not win the league, can we? Surely.
Yeah, we and the thing is, I think that's with the same games. I think at times, in that season when we did go 8 points in front, City had a couple of games in hand and things like that. So this will be completely different. To go 10 points in front and 11 points in front on the same games, that's incredibly a nice cushion at this stage of the season. And you'd like to think you could even increase it by more. But yeah, that's why this game's so important, Dan, because I do think that if we win on Saturday, the likelihood is that them two teams will battle out a draw.
Yeah.
And as you say, we're in an unbelievable position then, So
yeah, I think it's 8 and 9 points, as guys have said in the chat. I think that is true. Actually, it's 8 and 9. But either way, we can't go that
8 and 9, is it? What if they draw?
9, if they draw and we win, I think that is right. Actually, doing the maths, I can't see it without looking at the table in front of me. I don't think we can.
Well, how many points are we front now? I don't. We're 6 points in front, and we have.
I think we're 6 ahead of City, and I think we're 7 ahead of Liverpool, aren't we? So yeah, so it would be they'd get a
so we go 10 points in front of we would. We go 10 points in front of Liverpool before they play, and 9 points in front of City. Yeah, so if they were to draw, that's correct.
So it is 8 and 9, yeah. So either way, I don't care if it's 8, 9, 10, 11. We have to win the league. You can't go that far ahead of those and drop the ball. That means we'd have to lose 4 games, yeah, and they'd have to win the rest of them. We'd have to. I know it's early, but that is going to be too much in my opinion. Big up to Richard, who's gifted 10 memberships. You absolute legend. Thank you so much, Rich. Really appreciate your kind compliments and comments as well. Thank you so much for that. Big up to Richard. Everyone put W's in the chat for Richard. Absolute legend. Really, really appreciate that big time. Danny's coming with a super chat as well, Lee. He says, big up, gents. Even if we're still top in January, we need to sign another winger or centre midfielder if the money's available. Strike while the iron is hot, even if it adds another 1% to get over the line. It's a good question, because Igal asked me this the other day, actually, in relation to January and what we do. And I said to him, this will be the only January I can remember in the lifetime of supporting Arsenal where I will not be screaming at the board to go and sign players. I can't remember another January where I've ever said, don't need to do anything, you're all right. Now, I'm not saying we don't have to do anything. I would happily welcome a Semenyo. I would happily welcome another player if that believed they were going to strengthen the side. But I don't think I'll be screaming for it, Lee, like I have previously.
No, we're in a good position. We've done what we wanted to do. But as you say, one big signing to help us over the line will be fantastic. So I've just had a quick look at the fixtures. The week after, which is very, very important as well, Dan. Because both teams play before us. So if Arsenal don't win at the weekend, right, you could see that these two teams taking a 6 points chunk out of that. You know what I mean? So that's how important this game is. Liverpool have Forest at home. Man City have Newcastle away. So my scenario now is definitely Manchester City to win, right? And then Newcastle will beat Man City. That's what, I'll take points off of Man City. That's so scenario, because I can't see Liverpool dropping against Forest. So I think it's realistically, you're right, Man City have got to be the team. If any team, it's got to be City.
I agree. Look, I looked at the fixtures, talking of fixtures, and this Crystal Palace Carabao Cup game has really stuffed us, mate. If I'm
Well,
honest.
no, it's ridiculous. They can't do it. I don't know what they can do. I don't know what they can do.
Well, look, the reason it's happened is, for those that don't know, Crystal Palace play Manchester City on the 14th of December. Arsenal play Wolves on the 13th of December. Crystal Palace then play 4 days later against KUPS in the Conference League. But Arsenal don't have a fixture. So a lot of people are saying, why can't we play it in that midweek? Well, the reason we can't play Palace then is because Palace are already playing against KUPS. And then they've got Leeds on the 21st. And then 2 days later, they're playing Arsenal. Arsenal got Everton away. And then 2 days later, we're playing Palace. Where else can they put this in? Like, where they've got to, and they can't play. This is ridiculous. You can't play a game.
The only way I can see it is if they go to UEFA and say, like, the conference, can you play it on the Wednesday for Crystal Palace? Right. I mean, and then they can move their game to the Saturday, like we can, and then you can
because
play.
Why are we playing Everton on the Sunday? Because neither of us have got Europe, so we should play on the Saturday, shouldn't we?
The TV.
It's ridiculous. They've got to move that game to the Sunday or Friday night.
Well, they can do, and if they do that, then it still ain't solved Palace's problems, is it?
No, it ain't.
Whatever happens, Palace have got to play 2 days later and whatever. Like,
well, they got to move. They got to move Everton and Arsenal to the Saturday, and Leeds and Palace to the Saturday. That's what they got to do.
Yeah, but they can't because Palace are playing on the Thursday.
So they got to play them on the Wednesday. Yeah,
but there's no Champions League fixtures on that week, so they could actually say, like, right, you can we play it on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Does it have to be on the Thursday? So if they were to play on the Wednesday, they could then play on the Saturday. Both of us could play on the Saturday, and then both of us could play on the Tuesday. The way it is at the moment, it's fair for both teams because both teams have only got 2 days recovery. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? You're telling about players and players' welfare, and they've done this thing where you can't play over Christmas period, can't play. It's got to be more than 48 hours, and then you're putting the cup game in, like, in there, like, you know. So it is ridiculous. You know, obviously it can't go the week of the League Cup ties, can it? Which is the week before, because if you just turned around and said they're playing on the Thursday. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't really see a logical. They could put the Arsenal Everton game back one day, which would suit us, but that's not fair on Crystal Palace. Or the other side of it is Arsenal just turn around and go, well, we'll play one squad here and one squad there. You know, I don't know. And Palace will have to do the same, I suppose. But Palace,
Palace have got to ask to move their game to the Wednesday night. There's no way that can't be a thing. Like, let's be real. Palace can play that on a Wednesday night. It's at Palace as well, right? Against CUPS, whoever they are. They play that on a Wednesday, and then they move the Leeds game to the Saturday, and then it's fine. And then Arsenal Everton play Saturday. Leeds and Palace play Saturday. Palace would have had enough rest to play that Saturday game, and then we move and then we leave the fixture as it is, and we play it on the Tuesday. That would be fine, because at the moment we've got to play Everton, which is a massive game for the title race. Every game is, and then 2 days later we've got to play Palace. We can play the kids against Palace, but we'll probably lose because, let's be real, they're a good side. So you can't play.
You know, for the life of me, I don't see why they couldn't have put Spurs Liverpool on the Sunday, which is a massive, you know what I mean, and put Arsenal on.
That's what I mean.
And change the Everton's Arsenal game to the 5:30 kickoff on a Saturday. I don't know why they haven't done that in the first place. But once they've done that, they've pushed themselves into a position where, like Villa and Man United's on the Sunday at 4:30. That has to be because Villa. I'd imagine Villa playing in the. Is the conference, or is it just the conference level those games?
So
it's only conference games. So even the Aston Villa game don't have to be on a Sunday.
That's what I mean. I don't get any of this. I don't get any of it. It's poor planning again, fixture-wise. Now, I know that we didn't plan to get Palace in the Cup, but now that we have, you've got a plan that Palace are going to get someone, and they're going to have to play that week if they go through.
Yeah, well, exactly. So what if Palace would have picked out Spurs that day, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, they got knocked out.
You
I
know,
didn't mean that Spurs fans. I didn't mean that. Played, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Say if Palace would have picked out, say like if Palace would have picked out Chelsea, for instance, like that's the 12:30 kickoff, right? That would have meant that Chelsea would have to go to the Palace game. Would have to go to Sunday. Yeah, so I don't see why.
It's bollocks, man. I can't stand it. It's not planned well enough at all because they knew, right? Palace are in the conference, which means if they do get through to quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, putting a fixture in might be a bit tricky. So what we might have to do is have a little bit of a look at who's playing who that weekend and try and shuffle it round. And they haven't. They've just left it. Oh,
they can't shuffle it around in any way, the shape or form. Whatever happens, Palace will have to play on a Sunday. Whatever happens.
Yeah, exactly. Which means that Arsenal, we can ask to put our game back, but they won't.
I don't see why they can't.
Well, so we want to go back to the Saturday. It's not our problem that Palace are in a Conference Cup. We've drew them. It's not our fault. You can't put a disadvantage to us.
And they can't make you play 2 games before. Then, just like they've turned around and said it's not feasible to do no more. So
yeah, well, they've got to change.
You can't play on a Sunday and then like
on a Tuesday night.
on a Tuesday, you can't do it, right? No. So you've got to change the whole squad around. Now, for instance, right, I don't know if they could do this, but Crystal Palace could go, right, well, Arsenal can't afford to play a second stringer Everton away, right?
No.
So when we're going to do it against Crystal Palace? Well, Crystal Palace have got some team, I don't know who they've got on
2
that.
PS. Yeah, whoever that is. Exactly.
Right. So they could turn around on the Thursday and go, all right, we're playing none of our players on the Thursday.
Yeah.
Right. But we're playing them all on the Tuesday against Arsenal. So we could, in fact, what could happen for us is that we've got to go. So they've got to play Tuesday.
But they've got to play Leeds as well, you see, 2 days before away, which is tough for them.
So they can't really rest anybody. But they could.
Palace Palace ain't going for a title league. I know it sounds wrong because Palace is an important game for the league, but they won't. But they're going for like top.
So they could say that's what I'm saying. They could say against Leeds, we're playing second string against
Leeds.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, they could do that.
Right? They can take the 2 cup games seriously and then not the middle one, or they can play the kids on the Thursday in the cup game against QPS, whoever that is. Mix it up a little bit on the Leeds and go full strength for us on a Tuesday. Whereas we can't do that, you see. We've got to really go. I know we've got the strongest squad and a stronger squad than them, but when they've got a day's rest, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, so we're going to have to go strong against Everton and then rest everybody there. And then like that, and it could be an unfair advantage for us. You know what I mean? So I don't know what's going to happen there. Like I really don't know.
I've never heard it before. I don't think it's ever happened before. You play 2 games every 2 days. Like even the Christmas festive period, you play every 3 or 4 days, don't you? I mean, it's crazy, really, to think that this is actually going to be happening. But I don't know. They've got to change it. They've got to sort something out. But we'll see what happens, man. Let me get you a prediction for the tomorrow night's game against Sunderland, mate. What are you saying?
I'm saying 2-0 to the Arsenal, but tough 2-0. I think it'd be a late goal that will make it a little bit more comfortable for us. But I think it's going to be a very, very tough game.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. I think we'll concede this time. I think we'll finally concede. They're a good side at home. They haven't lost a game at home, but I think they will tomorrow night. I think we'll beat them 2-1. I think it'll be a very good game, and I think it'll be a very tough game. And as for Manchester City, Liverpool, I think Manchester City are winning 2-1. What did you say for that game?
I think it will be a draw. 1-1.
Okay. Well, look, I hope that you are absolutely spot on with those predictions because that'll be a very, very good weekend and a very good international break, which I can't believe we got another one of, but, we have. And then after that international break, Lee, we've got 3 very, very big games. Spurs, Bayern, Chelsea. Spurs, Bayern, Chelsea. Before we close, let me ask you on that. Spurs, Bayern, Chelsea in that order. How serious do we take each game there? Because we cannot play the same 11 for all 3 of those games. We've got Spurs, which is obviously a must win. We've got Bayern Munich, which isn't a must win, but it's like a clash of the Titans, as you called it at the top. And then you've got Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, which I think is a must win. Now, I'm not saying rest everyone for the Bayern Munich game, but we are going to have to rotate a bit, aren't we?
Yeah, I think like rotating the Bayern game.
Yeah, I agree.
Can't take liberties with Spurs. Can't take liberties with Chelsea. I'm not saying we can take liberties with Bayern, but there's less jeopardy. If we lose that or draw that, we can still qualify. Well, we're basically qualified anyway. You know what I mean? I know we ain't got in the top 8 yet, but we've qualified for the playoff game anyway. Like, you know, so for me, I'd take I'd go very, very strong against Spurs. If positively we're winning that comfortably, which you know that ain't going to happen, but if we was, then you can make changes, rest a few players while that game's going up. But that, to me, is the massive game. Make sure you beat them. Change it around a little bit against Bayern. Hopefully get the result. And then go big, you know, as strong as you can against Chelsea as well. Like, you know what I mean? So three massive games. I think after that we've got Brentford at home, which is still not a gimme. You know what I mean? Like 3 or 4. I think that's on the Wednesday. So, you know, and then Aston Villa away. So listen, the next 5 games after this, if we were to win all of them, then we're in an unbelievable position. But for me, one game at a time, Dan. Sunderland away. Let's see what happens. And then, but for me, I think that definitely going strong against Tottenham, definitely strong against Chelsea.
Yeah, look, I know we had a very difficult first 6, but I think these next 2 months are going to be just as hard as the first 6. I really do. Because when you've got Tottenham, Bayern Munich and Chelsea, and then you've got that, you know, Brentford and Villa game away, which is always hard for us at Villa Park. And then you've got that congestion list when Palace and Champions League fixtures and all that kind of gets into play. I think it's going to be a very, very difficult time for us. So, yeah, let's see. Take each game as it comes. Sunderland tomorrow night. Let's hope we get a win. Make sure you do me a favour, people. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe. Big up to everyone who's super chatted. Big up to the new members. Big up to Richard as well for gifting out those memberships. You're an absolute ledge, mate. Thank you so much. Make sure you're following Lead Judges and make sure that you're supporting both the sponsors for this. We've got OK jerseys for all of your shirts. Make sure you get anyone on the back that you want. £15 a shirt. You've got the code there, 12man, to get 8% off as well. And make sure you are downloading Match Bingo and playing. There's a lot of people winning on Match Bingo at the moment with all of the games coming thick and fast. You can play in the international break as well. Make sure you're using the code POTS when you download it. You'll get a discount. And then good luck with it because lots of people are winning money on Match Bingo. So go and show some love over there as well. Lee, absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. We'll be back on your channel very soon, I'm sure, once we sort out the tech issues. And good to see you, mate. Thanks for coming on.
No worries. Enjoyed it. Cheers, Dan.
Nice one. Take care, people. We're out of here and we'll see you on the next one. Laters.